Hiking up one of the mountains here last weekend, I was just struck by the beauty of fall. Not the standard sunlit yellows and vibrant reds, which there's been so many reds this year, but the subtle beauty after the leaves have fallen of the evergreens against the grays of the aspen trees and the oak and the reds and the browns of the rocks and the straw yellow of the dried grasses. Fall just keeps unfolding as the snow line creeps lower and lower here. It's hard to believe, like, I'll be skiing in a month. So, fall is dramatic, bringing so much change so quickly, right? From warm, sunny days to heavy rains and thunderstorms to the first snows where I live to the bright, like majestic colors of the fall leaves, and then to the quieter, more subtle beauty as the mountains lose that vibrant fall color, but that subtle beauty starts to come through. It's the heralding of winter, the early ski season where I live. So, fall, like spring, brings it all, right? But with the darkening days in the Northern Hemisphere, the waning light is so noticeable now, right? We're driving home in the dark, maybe waking up in the dark. We're descending into the dark of the year, the dark of the sun's yearly cycle for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a time of stillness and introspection, for reflection and turning inward. The inner lives we put aside for summer and all the summer fun and activity are asking for attention again. Even the sun says so, right? With no more late night mountain bike rides or hikes without a light. It's Scorpio season, the sun's entrance into that deep water sign. Scorpio goes straight into the deep end, right? And like the deep end of the pool is not even enough. It like then drills down through the concrete into like the core of our feelings, our emotions, and our experiences. Scorpio is all about the shadow and the light, swinging between the extremes just to see how far it can go. It's like the deep sea diver pushing the limits of its lungs and what it can, how long it can hold its breath and how deep and how much pressure it can take, right? Scorpio feels the most alive at the edge, in the rush, in what's like real and never the mundane. Scorpio needs to feel maybe more than any other sign. It's no coincidence that Halloween lives in Scorpio's haunted house, right? Rooted in the Celtic holy day of Samhain, when the veil between the worlds are thin and we walk among the dead. We dress as witches and ghosts and surround ourselves with the symbols of darkness and shadow, right? We decorate things with bats and spiders and spider webs and ghouls and all this scary stuff, right? All the things we fear, really all the things we avoid within ourselves, except somehow at this time of year, it's allowed to come out, often in these fun and playful ways. So, this season invites us to notice what's happening around us, right? This energy, the earth mirrors this energy, alive, but heading into that winter slumber. So it's this opportunity of Scorpio season to just feel the feels, which is something that we're often so afraid of and so resistant to. But Scorpio wants to go to the deepest depths, right? Drilling through the deep end of the pool into our core, but also like the rocket, like shooting into the highest heights. Scorpio swings between the extremes, right? The middle of the road is just boring. It's like death by a thousand cuts for Scorpio. It has no interest in that space. So, Scorpio season, Halloween, Samhain, invites us to embrace and connect with our dark sides, right? The places that where we feel that shame, we hide, we feel the feels. And the most important thing to remember as we head into this and things can come up or we're consciously choosing to feel the feels, when we feel those things, they only last for a moment. The energy moves through us, just like a toddler, right? You see, they lose their minds and then they're completely over it, right? They scream and cry and then they move on. Then they're happy and laughing in the next moment. They stomp and stamp around and are furious and then it's over. And that's the guide for us, right? If we're resisting what we're feeling, then it just stays there and it keeps persisting. But if we just have the courage to take the moment to just look at it, then it dissipates and it starts to move through and something new blooms within that. Like even recently, I was waking up in the middle of the night feeling this like panic, and immediately I wanted to attach the panic to something that I could kind of wrap my mind around, like stressing about work or money or a client or a class I'm teaching or something like that, right? Some way that I could latch onto like my shadow belief of like I'm not good enough and really start to spin around that. But that's still like the next step. That's a distraction from the feeling of panic. Where did that come from? So I took some time, moments, 4 a.m. all alone, quiet in my bed, of what is really going on here. And I could just feel that like little part of me that was just like so terrified when my dad was coming into my room late at night to molest me. And I have been living with that terror and fear since that time. It was like primal, like gut, like wrenching kind of fear. But the distraction was like I wanted to attach it to something else so I could have some meaning around it as opposed to just feeling the yucky feels. But I sat with it, and within minutes, that whole energy started to shift and change. I was having a hard time like breathing below my rib cage. And instead, all of a sudden, it was like I just aligned. I could drop down, I calmed down, and I could breathe deeply. And then I was able to fall asleep again, which never would have happened if I just started chewing on and spinning about something else, right? And that's the point. That's like the opportunity here with this Scorpio season, with Halloween, with Samhain, is like not only are the veils are thin where we can interact with our ancestors and people on the other side more, but we can let the veils drop within so we can interact with our inner selves that need that love and attention so we can move through it and move on to the next thing as opposed to being like constantly held hostage by it. So the earth in the northern hemisphere is mirroring this energy, right? The aliveness, but the subtlety of the colors as we move into this winter slumber where the bears are fattening for hibernation, the birds are migrating, the nights are growing longer and colder, and the sun wanes and the darkness rises. So, what are you feeling as the light fades? What are you noticing on the earth around you? What's happening? Just tune in to the reflection that the energy is providing for you. And notice, what are you hearing inside from Scorpio's lonely, deep feeling call? I'm Sheridan, your AstroLife coach. And if you're ready to explore where you're feeling lonely and what you can do to change that, I invite you to check out my Moon Sister Circle community, where we meet twice a month to learn about boundaries, our limiting beliefs, what holds us back, and how to actively get out of our own way in real, concrete steps that make real change in our lives. You can learn more and check me out at sheridansemple.com. Thanks so much for watching. I'm wishing you an empowered, sacred feminine week, and I will see you next week for the Taurus full moon, where we'll explore what gives us pleasure and why we shy away from that so easily.